Welcome to Women Building Women, the podcast with the intent of driving out animosity amongst women. I am your host, Samantha Letshedi, and this is episode 2, part 2, Females in Friendships. In part 1 of the episode, I shared my personal definition on friendships. We spoke about how we find it difficult to share, or whether it's comfortable to share your experiences or your life details with your friends, if you genuinely feel supported by your friends, and how it makes you feel when your friends accomplish certain things or achieve certain accomplishments and vice versa. In part 2 of this episode, we're going to be analyzing who we are in friendships and the expectations that we have of our friends. And I hope this helps you to do a check-in with yourself, to analyze and enable you to analyze if your friendship needs more work, or enable you to walk away from friendships that no longer serve you, or if you feel a certain way towards your friend, which is a way that you shouldn't be feeling towards someone that you refer to as your friend, and have that courage to walk away. I, amongst many other things, personally value effort, and mainly effort in terms of making time for each other and showing up, especially with the busy schedules that we have. And I mean, look at the reciprocated energy in the room. I am beyond grateful that all of you showed up for me today. It means so much, and the cherry on top is that I get to spend time with my faves. And anyone that knows me would know that I value quality time. Quality time is the number one love language for me in friendships. And on that note, I'd like to find what is the love language that is of the utmost importance to you in a friendship.
Hey, boo. For me, personally, I agree with you. I take quality time as a very big thing for me. And with that as well, I think words of affirmation, like I want to be secure in my friendships. You know, I don't want to have to be guessing what my friend is thinking. I'm really good at communicating whatever I'm feeling all the time. So I expect my friends to do the same, because if you have an issue with me, and you know there's something that's bothering you, there's no point in letting that fester, because I'm super chilled. So if any of my friends were to come to me and speak to me about their problems, like I'm open to that. If I've upset them, I would want to know so that I can take accountability and be a better person and, you know, grow. I'm always growing, and, you know, I think it's good to be open and willing to grow. And that's also another quality that I value in friendships.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on the being able to communicate. And I think that then comes to my love language being words of affirmation, in the sense that even maybe we don't have enough time to spend with each other because, you know, life gets so busy and we have other things to do. And that's a very big part of navigating your friendships, is there still needs to be some sort of understanding between each other that we care, we respect, we love, and we communicate with our friends. And I think it's a big part for me, because I tend to overthink certain situations, especially when I don't know what the other person is thinking. But yeah, my biggest is definitely words of affirmation.
Definitely agree with that. My biggest is also words of affirmation. Like she said, we have such busy schedules, and it's so hard to keep up and try and make time all the time. But if you've got someone rooting for you, someone telling you that you're doing so amazing, someone who's there when you need them all the time, who's there on your side, I feel like that's so important to me. I value that so much to have in my life.
No, I agree with all of you ladies. we are the same person, okay? We are the same person. So we share the same sentiments. So yeah.
And I think for me, just to round it all up, I don't know which love language this per se is, but it kind of incorporates everything we've said so far. I value someone who takes the time to understand me, who holds space for me so that I can be vulnerable with them. Because it is hard to say, this is what I'm going through, or this is where I'm at, or these are the mistakes that I made. And someone who can hear that and understand where you're coming from, but still at the same time be able to call you out when you are wrong, kind of like Lerissa said, where they can tell you when you're wrong, but also they're able to understand your intention, and therefore you feel like you can be 1000% yourself without having to be a version of yourself, or, you know, I want to be completely vulnerable in my friendships.
Can I add on that? I think also just within your friendships, allowing or giving each other grace is a very important thing, especially those of us that suffer with mental health issues. I personally am really, really, really bad at texting, especially when I'm like going through something. And my really, really good friends, they understand that. Like I have friends that are like my best friends. I've had them in my life for many, many years. But we maybe speak like 3 times a year. But every time we speak, the love is always there. It's always the same. We're at an age where life is busy, like you said. Like people are doing things. So I give people grace, and I know I never take it personally when, you know, someone takes their sweet time to respond to me or anything, because you don't know what people are going through. And, you know, I've definitely been through a lot the past couple of years. And lost a couple of friends through that. But the ones that stay are the ones that I appreciate. You know, I appreciate you giving me grace. You understand that I'm going through things. I do get overwhelmed. And I am suffering with mental illness. And it's not easy to be friends with somebody who's going through something. So just giving each other grace, I think, is very important.
Yeah, I'm also guilty of late responses to texts. I think I answer after 5 working days. You know, I get times where I'm responding to Koketso, for instance, and she's like, girl, I can hear the clicking of the mouse in the background because I'm responding with a voice note and I'm busy working. And I would love some tips of how do you manage this busy schedule with your life, and also, you know, like slotting in your friends in the process. I need tips, guys. Please share.
I think one of the biggest things for me is in understanding that we're friends and we need to give each other grace, as you said, is understanding that it's a 2-way, you know, partnership between you, or a 3-way or a 4-way, depending on how many friends you have, whether or not those friends know each other. But I think the most important thing is realizing that being with your friends is kind of an ode of, you know, caring for yourself. No man is an island. No one should feel alone. No one should isolate, because that's also one of the biggest things that comes with figuring out your own life is if it's not going well, you tend to shy away from people. You tend to move back. I'm very guilty of that. I tend to isolate. And sometimes you forget that your friends are there for you for that reason. And it's kind of like giving yourself the ability to be vulnerable around people because it's an important part of your life. So the same way you go to the gym to work out, the same way you go to work to, you know, click on the mouse and, you know, be professional about things and, you know, it's the same way you should kind of encounter your friendships, and that, okay, I'm meeting with Sam this Saturday and I'm going to have a heck of a time because I can be vulnerable with Sam.
And you are having a heck of a time.
And I am having a heck of a time right now. This is exactly how I would have wanted to spend my Saturday because it's an ode to me. It's an ode to what I care about. And I care about Sam, I care about the space, and I care about what we're doing. And it feels refreshing to me now that I'm in it. I won't lie, the anxiety was killing me and I was coming here. It was a lot in the week to just kind of push myself to do it because I tend to self-isolate. But now that I'm here, it's just such a beautiful space. And I'm grateful that you invited me. And I have the time to now spend with Samantha,
Sammy
the girly
Sosa.
girl, Sammy Sosa, and her other beautiful friends that I'm coming to love and appreciate. You know, it's a beautiful space to have, people with the same, not necessarily same mindset, but with the same value and the same charisma and the aura and the care around women, because we don't do this often. We really don't. I've never been in a group of women this large in a while. So yeah, I would treat giving, time to your friends as like the same thing as giving time to the other things you need to do, because it's an ode to you. You don't have to be alone. You don't have to feel like you're juggling too many things at once, especially when there are people who care about you and who value how you feel. But that all comes with how good of a friendship you have with someone. And I'm not saying that because I won't lie, my best friend, we've been best friends for over 10 years. We see each other once a year. But in that once a year, we value what we're spending time for. We value how much we care about each other, and we value that we've taken time out of this once a blue moon to see each other. But it's all about how you present seeing your friends, I think, as well. So yeah.
I think, definitely the resonating messages, giving each other grace, because we are adulting, and most of us are in our young adult years. We're still trying to figure this out. And I think giving each other the space to understand that friendships now in our adult time is not going to be the same as in primary school or high school, where you saw each other every day. You had sleepovers every weekend. Friendship is different now as adults, and understanding that, and therefore having those expectations, but it still doesn't take away from the depth and the value of the friendship itself. And I think on a more practical side, I lately have picked up sending messages on the way to work. So I don't get to work from home. So I will ask Siri to send a message. Hey, happy Friday. Send my message to my friends. Hope you're having a good day. Hey, Siri, So I'll ask Siri to send my friends a message. And I think also when you do finally get to see your friends, as Aphiwe said, that time is so valuable. And I think another thing practically is when we do meet, let's commit to the next time that we're meeting. Let's make the date for next time. And that way we able to stick on that cycle, or at least have a commitment. And I think that helps, because it is hard. Yeah.
Let me just come in there. I think with me and my friends, I'm very lucky that we're like a foundation in each other's lives. So and I'm sorry, Sam, we don't slot each other in, right, in our friendships. But we are very intentional with the time that we spend with each other. That's very important. But I think another practical thing is whatever I like doing, I invite my friends to it. So I like working out. I like doing physical activities. I like drinking wine. I like, I like doing all of this. I like going out. I like things, right? Technically. But so I want to always invite mostly people, my friends who would be interested, who are available, because then that's how, you explore new things, right? Exploring things with people who are in your life is one way to grow the relationship. So exploring new things, and you're spending time together, because as we've all said, we are all so busy. We've all got so many commitments to family, to yourself as well. Let's not forget ourselves, right? If you're in a relationship, your relationship. So your friends are easy to, it's easy to give them the back seat when life gets heavy. But you forget that those are the people who started out with you. They've seen you at your worst. They've literally they are your support structure. And if you just harness the relationship and invest in it, that's one way in which it can fully grow. So if you guys are very much, your intentions are the same, really, your friendship should flourish.
Just to add on to that, I think we talk about commitment a lot in romantic relationships, and we shy away a lot from it when it comes to friendships. And we forget that it requires commitment as well in a friendship. It requires effort. So if I respond to you after 5 working days, just because I responded after 5 working days doesn't mean I'm not showing effort. I responded at the end of the day.
Amen.
It's just understanding that, you know what, My friend is busy, as long as at the end of the day, she responds to me. At the end of the day, if she says she's going to show up for my podcast on Saturday, she's there. Yeah. That's just showing effort and commitment and making it good vibes whenever you guys link up or whenever you guys talk on the phone. As long as it's good energy, then for me, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to circle back to what Aphiwe said about being in a space with so many females for the first time in a long time. And I think these are sort of like the development stages of friendship. And I remember when we shot episode 1 with Tshegofatso and she met Kaise for episode 2, part 1. And they were just getting along so well. And I got so excited. And I mentioned this in the first episode that I was so excited when, friends of mine who don't know each other, because I know you guys individually, obviously, but then you come together and you're vibing and it gets me so excited and I love it. And I want to know, what are some of the green flags that you look out for in the development stages of a friendship? Because I know some of you are fairly new with this friendship thing with me, and some of us, we go way back. But what are those green flags that you look out for?
Okay, for me, I love a girl's girl. I love a girl's girl. I love a girl if we instantly click and there's just something about the vibe that comes together. I definitely felt that with most of you guys today. I love a girl's girl. And I think I also like someone who has similar morals or values. So beneath the superficial, I like how you dress, or we both cute or whatever. I want someone who has similar values, similar morals. Like me being invited to your podcast, I'm thinking, wow, Samantha's doing the things and it inspires me and it pushes me to do more. And therefore that's someone that I want to keep close to me, because I want someone who is going to push me and also who's going to encourage me when I do make those steps, and someone that I can learn from. So those are my green flags. Yeah.
I think one of my green flags is the ability to understand that, my sense of humor is unmatched. I think, I don't know, I love making people laugh, and I don't know if you guys will engage me on that, but I love a space where I get to be, funny. There's a sense of humor that, we can share. There's an air of a laugh that we can have. I love people who are, open to being okay around people. You don't have to be so bunched up.
Yeah.
Because I like to make spaces very comfortable. And the way I do that is by, checking your sense of humor. What level are you? Well, how do I tickle your funny bone a bit? Yeah, and I felt that here, actually. As soon as I got in, there was this beautiful energy. And that's also another green flag, is the energy. It is so important. You can sense it. It's not anything that you have to have a degree for or anything. You can just feel the intent off of people, I think, in most cases. The beauty of, someone coming to greet you. Hi, how are you? Oh, you look so good. Oh, also hyping each other up. That's a real green flag of mine. I need you to dap me up. I need that stuff. We love a hype woman. As soon as I saw Charlene, I was like, oh, girl, African goddess. We love a hype woman to me. So I love a green flag of mine is a good aura, a good enough space for me to be myself.
Yeah.
And you can generally sense that from the first time we meet. I mean, some of you have met each other in 2 weeks and it's just oops, yeah. Shout out to D in the back.
With me, I think when you feel comfortable around a person, also instant green flag. If they laugh at my jokes, instant green flags. The minute I hear any kind of bigotry, though, that that goes. I immediately kind of shut off, and then I don't really want to get to know you beyond that surface level. I can still be cordial with somebody that has opposing views to me, but yeah, if we're laughing, if the vibe is there, when we met, was just giggles all around. Like, we were just bouncing off each other. Like, even though we met during, like, you know, unfortunate circumstances. You know, we found a way to make each other laugh and smile during that difficult time. And yeah, if I feel comfortable with you, I just know. I just know that it's going to be a good friendship.
Yeah, I would think energy is really, really important. Like, I'm a very shy person, so I don't really put myself out there a lot. But like, I'll take meeting Sam, for instance. She came up to me, I mean, we worked together, and she came up to me my first day, lunch break, and she was like, so you're coming with us to come have lunch? And it's like, she just invited me, and it was like, that energy was so good. She made me feel so welcome. She made me feel so appreciated. So it was like really good energy. So if I meet someone and they give me that type of energy, I'm able to reciprocate it as well. And I think it blooms a really beautiful friendship.
I think outside of what's been mentioned, for me, it's someone who's got morals, someone who's got integrity, someone who's driven, because that's who I am. And if I'm in a position where I'm lacking in those in my life, right, like at a point, like I'm not driven for work, for school, for anything, I need someone who's gonna chime in and say, no, Tshego, come on, girl, this is not who you are, right? If they see me going off the path, you know, Tshego, come back, this is not who you are. So for me, I need somebody who's really morality, like, it's really good for me, is high, integrity, who's gonna push me to, you know, and outside of that, like, just someone who's just fun. Like, I'm so fun, right?
Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody knows.
Are the rock star.
Like, all of my friends know that. So, like, yesterday, funny enough, my friend was video calling me. She's on a vacation with her boyfriend in Cape Town. It was around past 6, right? And she video calls me. She's like, oh my gosh, you're home? I thought I'd call you. You're at Rockets, right? Like, I like going out. Like,
Bryanston or Menlyn?
Like, Bryanston.
Yes.
Okay, I stay Johannesburg North.
I mean, come on.
So, like, I like someone who likes to have fun and, you know, who's very, like, full of life, you know, and I don't like a Debbie Downer, you know, but I just like that. Someone who's fun, as you said, a girl's girl. You want to have a good time. If I say let's rock, she's going to rock. So,
Let's roll.
that's me. That's a green flag.
Like, on that point about, you know, having somebody that's going to hype you up and, you know, support you, it's also, like, I wouldn't want somebody that's just like a yes person all the time, you know? You should be comfortable to talk to me, call me out when I'm doing something stupid.
Yes.
Because I'm willing to, if I respect you as a friend, then I'm going to listen to you, you know, and I want to grow and be better. And I don't want somebody that's just going to be like, you're always right.
Yeah, no, I think also support doesn't have to look like, you know, like daisies and roses. Support can look like, yo, dude, you messing up, bro. Turn the hell around. Like, you're messing up. It doesn't have to necessarily look like I'm always like, oh yeah, yes, ma'am, yes. Yeah, I agree with you. I have nothing else to say. What you're doing, it may be self-destructive, but I agree, you know?
It's almost
support,
like they're scared.
Yeah, support and dapping up isn't always this is a positive aspect that just goes one direction. Sometimes it can be calling out your friend for things that you feel are not like them, that are not for them, that don't grow that person. That's
Not
what a
serving
friendship
the
is. Not
friendship.
serving the friendship. Yeah, so I agree with your statement.
If anything, I think being able to call each other out in a non-violent, argumentative manner where it doesn't necessarily break up the friendship.
But the tone comes from love.
Exactly. Yeah. That actually indicates that this is a real friendship. You guys really care for each other and you're able to get through those conflict and those difficult conversations without it necessarily breaking up the friendship and actually you guys growing and evolving together. I think that's a sign of a real friendship.
Yeah, and Koketso spoke about what we emphasize in romantic relationships. And I think the major thing that we emphasize is red flags. We go on and on about red flags and what we need to look out for in order to dip. But I don't think we analyze that in terms of friendships. And I think it's important to do that. So what would you consider a red flag in friendships?
A one-upper.
Yo,
A one-upper. Oh my gosh.
Can you please explain what a one-upper is? Sorry, I don't know what
A
that
one-upper is like
Someone
your
that's, like,
friend.
in competition with you.
Yeah, like your
I
friend.
also did this. I did this as well. That type of person.
Like your friend, I just got a new car. Ooh, celebrate me. Yo, show me, even my Range Rover is coming in next weekend. Yo, a one-upper is literally my biggest red flag because unfortunately I have this really bad thing where I meet people who tend to want to be in competition with me. And sometimes I think it's because they mistake my drive for the both of us as a time to now compete. And it's not that. I want you happy. I want you doing the things you need to do. I want you succeeding. But that doesn't mean now you have to compete with my stuff. Yo, Chumi, I got the latest bag. Yo, Chumi, I got that last week.
Don't you think?
Just be happy for me.
Just be happy.
Don't you think it's one of those that you can do good, but just not better than
not,
me?
No, not necessarily just not better than me, but like it doesn't have to be in comparison to me. You can do better than me, child. That's fine. But we're not comparing. I'm still happy for you, irregardless of that. I'm joyous that you're doing great. But when I need my time to shine with you, it shouldn't be that you need to steal the shine. Because I think what I'm trying to say is it's not about you having great things. I will love that you have great things. It's about how you portray those great things and how you compare them to mine. That's my biggest red flag. And unfortunately, I've been through so many friendships where that's an issue, you know? Like, this competitive energy doesn't grow a friendship. It causes a fear in a friendship. Imagine having great news and not being able to tell that person because you feel like they'll overlook it. You know, they won't pay attention to it. They won't give the admirable, like, you know, vibe to it. Because there's nothing, like I said in the beginning, one of my green flags is when you hype me up. But how are you going to hype me up if you keep talking about your own things? You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, Chumi, I just got this car. This is great. Dap me up. No, but Chumi, my Range Rover is coming in next week. You know? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. So the one upper complex. Oh, also a red flag is funnily enough, I read this on TikTok. The term is a chaotic Chloe. So it's someone who constantly endangers themselves and puts themselves in chaotic situations. So say, for example, we need to go out. This girlie will not bring any money with her. She will be dancing around everyone in the club. She will not have her own sense of, you know, direction in the sense that now she's making herself known out there. She's jumping around. She cannot even Uber herself. She's taking rides with strangers. Now you need to pull her out of cars you don't know. You need to chase after her. She has no sense of direction in her life and she thinks that's cool. You know, like the term chaotic, obviously I know chaotic Chloe sounds a little bit, but just someone who doesn't have the same morals as you and they make it a point to kind of infiltrate your life with that. That's a red flag of mine. Because if we're friends, I have a responsibility to take care of you. And you have a
100%.
responsibility to take care of me. And how am I going to do that when you constantly endanger yourself in many different situations? Be it when we're having fun, when it's time to be serious, when it's time to be emotional, when it's time not to be emotional. Like there's an aura about that just gives so many red flags. But yeah.
I think for me, it's someone who doesn't know how to take accountability.
Yeah, that's the chaotic Chloe thing.
Yeah. If that's the same thing, then yeah, taking accountability, you know, as I was explaining when we were discussing with the ladies that, you know, there'll be certain situations or things that you do unintentionally, which then have unintended consequences, right? So you do something and then it offends me or it makes me feel this way. And I let you know as my friend and you first become defensive. That's a red flag for me because there's no safe space for me. Relationships are hard. Friendships, anything, because there's ups and downs. And there'll be times when something called growing pains, right? Especially when you've been friends with someone for such a long time, you change as you grow and you realize and you come more into who you are as a person. And if I 5 years ago was okay with something and I'm not anymore, I have to let you know, right? As a friend. And it most probably comes in a situation like up as a result of something happening. Like this happened, so friend, I need to let you know that this is not going to work. And you accepting it and saying, okay, I get who you are and where we're at right now, that works. But someone who's defensive, not taking accountability, that's a red flag for me. I'm so sorry. Like, that's
Sorry, not sorry.
we're drawing the line.
It's finished.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like
It's done.
it's listen.
Ufedi.
I think also, like, you know, for me personally, I mean, I'm sure you guys as well, I'm very willing to always take accountability because I know I'm not perfect. I know I'm a great person and I'm growing and I'm only getting better. I'm probably the best version of myself right now than I've ever been. And I'm always willing to take accountability. So I would expect my friend to also take accountability. You know, if I'm willing to apologize, even though I wasn't the one that was necessarily in the wrong, but maybe the way that I reacted was awful. And like, I can apologize for that. I can apologize for my reaction. But if you can't take accountability for how you treated me and how you've made me feel, never mind if that wasn't your intention, again, that's a red flag.
That's a very red flag for me.
And also almost to flip it, the opposite of a yes man or a yes man, someone who isn't able to come to you and say, hey, you said this or you did this and I didn't feel good about that, and they're not able to come to you and they do end up holding that resentment, holding that anger, and later on they're lashing out at you and you don't understand why, when if this person was able to have an uncomfortable conversation with you, as uncomfortable as it would be, you guys would be able to have resolved that. So for me, that's also a big thing. Someone who's open enough to also call me out, you know? Yeah.
I think it's very frustrating to have a friend that doesn't tell you the issues they have with you. They hold it all in. And I'm a believer that if you have an issue with someone, you can't just lie and hide it. There's something that's gonna, show in the outward that you have an issue with someone, and it's going to make the friendship so uncomfortable, because in a space where we're supposed to be vulnerable, in a space where we're supposed to be able to have each other and care about each other, it takes knowing when someone has hurt you to know someone has hurt you. I mean, you can't go walking around on eggshells because, I think I pissed her off.
You're not sure why.
I think she's upset. I think, versus having someone who can literally say, friend, this really hurt me. And then taking accountability for it on your side is, oh, friend, I'm sorry. I understand that this has frustrated you and I'm taking accountability for it. Exactly. How do we move and how do we grow from this? How do I make it better so that we don't have to go through this again? Because as much as I take accountability, most things are unintentional. Most things are if you're a real friend, you never do something to genuinely hurt your friend.
Yeah.
And it can come across as different from that, because if that friend is not communicating with you, then how would you know that behavior is triggering them?
Exactly. I actually had a situation with a friend not too long ago, and over the past couple of months, anytime I had asked her a question, she would always snap at me, and then it'd be like an awkward thing, and I was just like, why are you doing that? I would never treat you like that. I would never react in that way. And then we eventually had a conversation. I guess she needed to gather her thoughts before speaking to me. And when we spoke, she was like, I have something to tell you. And I was like, just go ahead. I'm an open book. And she addressed it with me, and she was like, I don't like the way that you say certain things. And I was like, I'm so sorry I made you feel that way. Like, it obviously wasn't my intention, but then she also, in turn, took accountability and said, you know, this is something that's happened in my past trauma that I'm working on, and I shouldn't have projected that on you. And she was so nervous to bring this up to me. And at the end of the day, it was an easy conversation. And, you know, at the end of the conversation, it was like, oh my God, I love you. Like, you can always talk to me. You know, even if I've done something to upset you, I'd want to know so I can change. I want to make the friendship better. And if I'm hurting you and upsetting you unintentionally, let me know. Like, it's always going to be worse in your head than when you actually
do it. Yeah.
Just to bring up another one that we haven't spoken about, but another red flag for me is actually lack of balance. So if I explain that, right, sometimes you get that friend that's like always hitting you up on the weekend. There's bottles at the club. Let's go, let's hit it up. But when you are going through the most, they are nowhere to be found.
Chaotic Chloe.
And
That's
it's
that
like,
one right there.
Chaotic Chloe.
The thing is, it goes the other way as well. Like, it doesn't have to be the chaotic friend, but it can also be the friend that's like, that's always so negative, that always never wants to have fun, never wants to do anything. And it goes back to the green flags. Like, anything, if we don't have the same interests, then it's just not going to work out. So if there's no balance in the friendship, for me, that's a red flag.
And I was just going to add something. I know I'm kind of circling back, but I think we forget that if someone does you wrong, you explaining to them how they did you wrong is you giving them an opportunity to change. And if you hold it inside your heart and you're holding that resentment, you're saying that I don't think you're going to change, and I don't think you love me, and I'm not going to give you an opportunity to do better. So it's actually like explaining and being vulnerable is a really big thing, you know, like your friend telling you what happened. If she didn't do that, it means she doesn't think that much of you. She doesn't think that you can change. She doesn't think that your friendship is worth it. So, yeah.
So at the end of the day, like, how much are you willing to invest in your relationships? If it's like an acquaintance, you know, I mean, I've also experienced this recently where an acquaintance just came at me because I hadn't responded to her text, which was only within like 24 hours. But she got really, really mad at me, and I'd never had a bad interaction with this person at all. But she came at me very aggressively, like right after my mental breakdown. And in that moment, I was like, my really, really good friends would have never come at me so aggressively for not responding to a text in 24 hours. Because my true friends give me grace, and they know that I love them. They know that if I'm not responding to a text or whatever, it's nothing personal. I'm probably going through it. And this person just came at me, and I was like, whoa, I don't actually want to invest that much in this relationship. And for her to come at me knowing my situation, that's not a very good friend to me. If you're willing to, you know, aggravate me and upset me, knowing that I was in a very vulnerable place, then I don't actually want to continue this friendship with you. Because I've had friends for over 14 years, you know. I speak to some of them maybe twice a year. It's all love all the time, and they never get upset at me because they know, like, life is busy,
It's
guys.
real life.
People are busy. You never know what people are going through. So, like, you know, to come at somebody for like simply not responding to a text is, let me just say, juvenile.
Giving juvenile.
I want to come back to the calling out because it seems like a common theme, but I want to share my red flags as well. My first one is lack of reciprocation. In the past, I have given so much in terms of friendships. I have poured out so much, and I was left empty. And those friendships are dead right now.
R.I.P. sweetie.
But that's like a huge red flag. And another one is lack of support. I remember when I started this initiative, Women Building Women, and I started with an Instagram page before the whole podcast idea came about. And I would share on my Insta story, like using my personal Instagram, or my WhatsApp stories, advertise the new page, it's about this and that, like post a video about what the page is about. And obviously you see people that view your status or status, depending on where you are, America or UK, English.
Status.
Or English, status. South African English, yes. And you see that people are viewing people who maybe some of them you don't really consider a friend. Some are acquaintances, as you said, Lerissa. But you're like, this thing that I'm trying to drive forward is for us as women. And as a woman who is viewing this, guys, just going, follow my Instagram page, like, share,
comment.
But exactly, like maybe comment is asking for too much. I don't know, but
Something as simple as a fire. Yes, when
I agree with you, Aphiwe. It's not too much.
Just a heart.
It's not too much.
Just a heart emoji.
Can you repost? Repost.
like even with that, it was so,
Slay. How am I?
Oh, thank you. Yes. But that was so difficult. Like you have like 100 views of that status sharing a link to, your page. And then you get maybe like 10 liking
10
or
likes.
following, that kind of thing. And I felt like I had to now DM people personally, like, I have a new page, please follow, please whatnot. Red flag. Because the fact that, you can't be happy or supportive. And I remember, Charlene, I met you, and the second day you followed my Women Building Women page. I didn't tell you anything about it. You went to my profile, you saw the link, you went in there, girl, you followed, and I came to you and I gave you a hug, because as minute as it seems, I don't know if minute is the correct English term, correct me, but as, small as it seemed, I was like, it meant so much to me that, what, you see my vision, you see what I'm doing, and you like it, and you followed without me having to ask you. And that was a huge thing. Support is a huge thing for me. And as soon as that's not something that you show, like, as a friend, that is a huge red flag to me. And now I will go back to the calling out, because, like I said, it was a common theme. How comfortable are you with calling your friends out? I've had an experience where I had a friend of mine, she really loved attention, and she would seek it in the most distasteful manner. And I had a chat with her, like, when you act a certain way, it's perceived in a certain way. Just had a very subtle and respectful chat with her. And she told me that, girl, my light is shining so bright. And if people can't deal with it, then that's their problem. And the fact that you're telling me all of this, block. Immediately she blocked me on WhatsApp, and the friendship.
It's giving main character.
And the friendship ended on that day, to the point where right now there's a certain friendship that is still, I don't want to say active, I'm going to use the term idle. There's a friendship in my life that is idle. It's someone who used to be my best friend. And she chose to side with a person who does things that I do not believe in. I have certain values and morals, and I do not believe in all of that. And she decided to side with that person. And I can see that our friendship is very rocky. But now I'm scared to talk about that because of what I experienced with that other friend who blocked me. So I want to find out how comfortable are you with calling out your friends?
Oh my God, I am an open book. I'm constantly communicating with my friends. And I also try to be a safe space as well. so that they know that they can come and talk to me no matter what. Because again, I'm always willing to apologize when I'm wrong. Again, because I know I'm not perfect, but I don't think a lot of people know that about themselves. Like, you're not perfect either. It's okay if people, and especially your friends, it's okay if people don't necessarily agree with you on everything, or, you know, don't support certain behaviors that you do. If they call you out, I suppose, like, respectfully as well, then, you know, you should be willing to, like, if you love this person, if this is a really good friend and they're calling you out, most of the time it's because they love you. It's coming from love. It's coming from a good place. And yeah, I mean, I've been called out before for certain behaviors, and I'm not oblivious to the fact that maybe some of my behaviors have been like toxic or, you know, upsetting to certain friends of mine. But hearing them coming and talk to me, it makes me feel like they trust me. They trust me enough to talk to me about it. They want this friendship to work. They want me to be a better person. And yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, definitely what you're saying, wanting you to be a better person. So I'm a people pleaser, well, a recovering people pleaser.
Oh my God, same.
So I'm very good at holding space for people, making people feel comfortable, so people can come to me easily. But for me to call you out as a recovering people pleaser and say, hey, this that you did was not cool, or I didn't like this situation or this incident that happened, was really hard for me at first, to be very honest. And I'm getting better. I've now decided I want to be intentional, especially with my close friends. And I know that's something that we spoke about earlier, being intentional, you especially, with our friendships. And that does come with calling people out, respectfully so, because it means you do want better for them and for your friendship. So I think that's what I tell myself, but I won't lie, it is difficult.
Like,
I find it difficult.
calling people out, it's not necessary. It doesn't have to be this big conflict.
Yeah.
You know, like you guys can have a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have to be shouting and yelling and, you know, denying. Just acknowledge how you made your friend feel and do some self-reflection.
I remember basically in its essence is, I remember I had a friend, and this was through probably the most turbulent time of my life, and we'd made it a thing that we communicate with each other about the things that are causing grievance or issues, you know, and she was that person to me. Obviously when we had ups and it was great and we celebrated each other. But when we had downs, she was the person I'd come and talk to, trying my best not to isolate and be alone. And I remember she called me out. She called me out after months of her ignoring me. Her vibe was just suddenly off. And I kept wondering and overthinking, like, yo, did I do something wrong? Did I smell funny that one day? What was going on? And she finally kind of gave it to me, in that, like, she felt like I was using her just to trauma dump, you know? And that really hurt my feelings, because how can you say that if you've made it a space to be vulnerable with each other, you know? And especially in the power of, you know, being there for one another. In all the times where you were down, I'd never once felt like it was a burden to care about how you're feeling. So I think I tried to call her out on that, and it kind of got worse in the sense that she did not respond or reciprocate the same energy that I had when she said I was trauma dumping. And I was like, okay, how can we fix this? I'm sorry I made you feel that way. How can we fix this? How can we move on from it? And she basically just decided to take it upon her to kind of end the friendship in the most weird, unsatisfying way. It was actually really funny. She was so excited to talk to me when I called her, and we tried to catch up, and I tried to tell her that, yo, I'm feeling a kind of way about this. It still hasn't sat well with me that you didn't feel like I was just being vulnerable with you. And I felt like, I was giving my time and my heart to you as well without any, bad vibes. And she was like, oh, that's how you feel? Okay, bye. Someone hung up the phone on me. Like, yeah, man. You hang up the phone and then you block me from everything. Which is such a, guys, I think that's another piece of it. That is such a weird way to end something.
That is emotional immaturity
That
right
is
there.
such a weird way.
It's giving juvenile.
Number one, you hang up on me. You drop the phone. You take the phone off your ear. Before we're done communicating, you hang up. You have the energy. You have the chutzpah to unfollow me on Instagram. To unfollow, okay, you can't unfollow anyone on WhatsApp, but you remove me from your status. I don't see your DP. I don't see your about. I don't see your status. I don't see. Yeah, but you have the energy to do that, but you don't have the energy to take accountability and communicate about something that's been testing us. After I thought we were friends for so long.
It's giving narcissism.
It's not giving at all. Hey?
It's not giving at all.
It's giving narcissism.
As a grown individual in 2023, how do you look at your phone? Someone is still talking on the other end, and you go boop. Alright, guys, that hurt my feelings. I'm not gonna lie. That killed me dead.
Oh no, honestly, I've been on actually the other end of that. I've been your friend. So let me tell you, right?
Okay, Miss Blocker.
I blocked, right? So I have this friend, right? And I felt like she would always use me to trauma dump.
Yeah.
My issues, you see, when you're saying that you were always there for her, it was kind of like a reciprocal thing. But with me, it was always like, you're never there for my issues. You never ask me how I am. Like, it's never that type of thing. But always, I have to be there for you all the time. Like, it always feels like, I kind of feel like I'm your therapist at this point.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's not reciprocated. And I think what comes with that is you're supposed to have good communication. Unlike with you and your friend, you guys did not, or she did not have good communication on her end. When you call someone out on that, they're supposed to receive that and evaluate that within themselves instead of being defensive. Instead of saying,
she was
oh my gosh, I'm going to
defensive.
block you because you're definitely wrong. Why don't you look within yourself first and evaluate yourself? Yeah.
I think when it comes to calling out, for me personally, it depends who I'm going to speak to, right?
Yeah.
It's not the same from person to person. Obviously, one, because the relationship is not the same, but because people are not the same. I've had like my friends who are very like, and I'm sorry to offend anybody, my Leo girls who are very strong-willed, they're always right. And I apologize once again, but this is what Heisgenwoord said, okay?
Always.
This is what they said, Leos are very, very, they're always right. Outside of the star sign thing, right? They are, I'm sorry.
Heisgenwoord, mara go sa le magazine ya Heisgenwoord.
My dear, ke motho wa kgale, guys. I'm from I'm very but like there are certain people who don't take calling out good, right?
Yeah.
Wow. And irrespective of how gentle you could be in your delivery, right? Because we are responsible for how we deliver things,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
So even if you're so gentle in your delivery and you say it, like in the best way possible, without offending, they will take offense, right? And there's certain people who I can't speak to you about something because it will end up being a fight.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that is a reflection on you or on our relationship that we have, right? Because we should be in a place where I could easily speak to you, or as Sam said, or someone else, that calling out or something or confrontation is there's a negative connotation to it.
Yeah.
There's a seam of like, I can come to you and tell you I have a problem without it ending up being a fight. You know, I can sit down, have all of these strawberries that are glistening and eating and say, you know, friend, I don't like the way you spoke to me last week, you know, and you not taking offense because we are accustomed to being defensive at the first sign of someone not liking something or bringing up something because we try to strive to perfection. Which does not exist. And as a people pleaser on the receiving end of being calling out, I found myself, recovering, right? Right now, I'm like 80% not, I don't people please. If you don't like me, that's on you. Thank you. You know, but like on the receiving end, if someone, especially a close friend, would bring up something like calling out, I would automatically apologize. I'm so sorry for doing this, you know, because, you know, I don't mean to do this because like, why? Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe I put you in a position to feel like that because I never want anybody to feel that because to some extent I felt that I was perfect, right? Because I'm so great, I'm so kind, but there are certain things that we do that are hurtful to other people, and when they bring it up, it's not because they want to end the friendship, but they just want it to grow. But as a people pleaser, sometimes you can't even defend yourself if the person is talking nonsense. Like, you know, like you're calling me out on bullshit right now, right? Because of like, oh my gosh, I gotta make sure that I fix things. I'm sorry, can I take you out for lunch tomorrow? You know, and I will bring $1,000,000. And I will bring a big bunch of flowers.
Here's a hammer, slap me with it.
Yeah.
that's exactly. I had such a strong issue with that. I think all of us here are recovering people pleasers. I'm not trying to be a people pleaser my whole life. That stuff draining.
It is.
But so often, even in that example I gave you, so often in many times where she would call me out and she would call me out in the most violent way. As a people pleaser, I would just throw myself at her feet. Like, I'm so sorry that you hate that I'm lactose intolerant. Like, slap me in the face with a hammer. Please, I'm so sorry. You know? Sorry, I'm lactose intolerant. I just feel like this people pleasing energy causes so much of your own worth in a friendship to be dismantled. You know, you can have calling out should never be a negative connotation, but I think not being able to stand up for yourself should be. And in people pleasing, you kind of throw your needs out the window, and you allow people to, you know, run and walk all over you, because that behavior in my example was not the first time she'd done that behavior. Obviously it was the first time she hung up on me, but there would be times where she'd feel the need to, you know, shun me or just make me feel uncomfortable in the friendship anyway, if there was something wrong, even if we spoke about it, you know. But yeah, no, people pleasing needs to die. It needs to sit in its grave. It
Both
needs
at the giving and receiving end, because you can't now call someone out because, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. What is she going to think of me? Is she going to dump me as a friend? Like, what's going to happen? And also on the receiving end, because you're not able to think clearly, like Tshegofatso said, like, is this really an issue? Or are you just being negative? Or is this, like, what is really going on? So it's really something that I feel like we need to work on, and currently are, I guess.
On both sides, we're catastrophizing when you make everything a catastrophe. So whether you're receiving the call out and you think, oh my goodness, I'm a horrible person, let me throw myself at them, or someone is calling you out and you think, oh my goodness, I'm a horrible person. You know what I mean? I think both ways, if it's a relationship where you guys are able to be comfortable around each other, be vulnerable and hold space, it won't go from 0 to 100. So you can actually sit and think about, is this person being serious when they're calling me out? Does this need the level of reaction that I'm giving right now? And I think just having that pause. So what I liked about your story, that pause.
Oh,
baby
that
girl.
pause.
That pause.
Inside joke. That pause.
That pause.
Some DVT right there.
Inside therapy, the pause. The
It's
pause.
called therapy, guys.
The pause.
It's called DBT. Look that shit up.
But bringing it back to everybody, in Lerissa's story, when her friend had an issue, a personal issue that she was projecting on you, I liked that she took the time, gave herself a couple days or whatever, and then came to you and said, hey, after gathering my thoughts, I realize this that you do upsets me because of something else. And it's because she took the time. In that moment, you also saw she wasn't ready to talk, and you weren't ready to talk. So you guys gave yourself that space. And in that space, you guys managed to find clarity, you know? So I think I also struggle with it, but let's try work on having that pause or that little break to just sit and think, are my reactions rational, or am I just
like I've had a very bad habit, like in the past, of just reacting immediately out of anger.
Yeah, same.
Like when somebody does something to hurt me, I immediately, like, I'm good with my words. So I'll cut you with my words, you know, I'll be really, really mean to you. And I want to show that person, hey, I'm angry and this is what you did. And that was really fucked up. And that upset me. But now, take a step back. Just think about it. Think about your role in the situation. Why did what this person do upset me? And then take accountability where necessary. But just talk to your friends. If your friends love you, it's not a thing, you know?
I think something about conflict is that we forget that when we're in the midst of conflict, each person thinks they're right. If I'm in an argument with you, I naturally think I'm right.
Yeah.
And you naturally think you're right. That's why we're arguing in the first place.
It's the conversation.
But if you're
perception,
if you're able to take a step back, think about it, pause for a little bit, you actually start to think about, okay, but this is where I might need to improve a little bit, and they do the same on their side. And that's when you guys can come together and have a constructive conversation instead of it being an actual argument.
You know, I'm actually surprised that when I asked about the question of red flags, no one mentioned jealousy. And it's something that it seems to be a big thing. Jealousy, envy in friendships.
I think I touched it with the one up.
Yeah. Yes, you actually touched on it
like
with the one up
a little bit.
And so let's link it to confrontation. If you see that your friend is showing signs of jealousy, do you confront them? Do you just let it go and tell yourself that, you know what, I'm imagining things? And I actually, a couple of weeks ago, I took my camera to work and I asked the ladies at the office about this topic. Like, if you see that, you know what, I have a friend who seems like they're jealous, they're not genuinely happy about my achievements or my accomplishments, do you actually talk to them about it? And most of them were like, no, I just brush it off and I tell myself that I'm imagining things, you know. So is that something that you guys confront? Because I hear most of you talking about confrontation, calling your friends out. But when you notice or you think that your friend is jealous of you, is that something that you talk about?
I don't know. I think this poses as a question because I really don't know how to confront jealousy. That is such an internal issue.
Yeah.
How am I going to fix that you envy everything I do?
It's a you issue.
That's a you problem. It's written you all over it. How am I supposed to tell you not to hate that I did something?
Yeah.
How? That's just a question. I don't know if you guys can answer that, but how? Like, njani, like you love my shoes. How am I supposed to tell you to dap me up for my shoes without making it about you?
You know, Aphiwe, sorry, can I just, I just feel like it's such a negative tag to put it to someone who's your friend. That you will shy away from saying that they are jealous of you.
Yeah.
Because then that means, okay, when you are sitting there, you sat there and then you're like, Mama, this girl is jealous of me. You understand? Because you don't want your friends to be jealous of you.
Of course.
You shouldn't be jealous of each other. And that's why it's such a difficult thing to bring up, because it's like, Ndota, why would you think I'm jealous of you, bruh? Like, you're my friend. But you understand, like, jealousy is it has gaslighting as well involved in it, right? So they will cover it with some gaslighting, and then in the midst of it, you can tell that this person is not genuine, right? So that's what I'm saying. I'm like, it's such a, how do you tell someone that who's your friend, right? Because if someone tells me I'm jealous of them, right, there's absolutely no ways we're friends after that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to think of it. Like, there's no ways we can be friends after that, because you yourself, how are you trusting that our friendship is genuine and I'm really happy for you after you've identified that the friendship, you're jealous.
Oh, you're just jaloers. That's the jaloers.
Yeah. You're just
How do you
jealous.
say that to someone?
I think I have an unpopular opinion, actually, right? I actually think that jealousy is a normal feeling. Hear me out, right? Jealousy is a feeling that I feel like we have all felt at some point in our lives. But I think the minute I see that in a friend, if I can see it in the friend, that's where the problem is. If I can feel the energy, that's where the problem is. I've had a friend come to me and say that, listen, you've been doing so great and I'm super happy for you. And I feel slightly jealous because things aren't going my way exactly in my life. But I don't want you for a second to feel that I'm not happy for you. That's where communication comes in. So I feel like it's a normal feeling, but it becomes toxic when I can see you become jealous, when you're trying to one-up me for one. That's where
That's
becomes
actually pretty good. That's
so
some good stuff right there.
toxic. So it's normal to feel that way. So don't feel bad when you feel that way. But I feel like that's where you should communicate with your friend. That's your friend. You should be able to tell them, like, shit, things aren't going my way right now. And it kind of sucks to see everybody winning around me. But don't for a second think that I am not happy for you. I think that's where it should come in.
That's such a strong communication. I've never heard that said to me, but I totally understand that sometimes things may not go the way you want them to, but for your friend, they're going so well, and you wish in your heart that, you know, things could happen the same way for you. But it's never from a point, and I think that's where jealousy kind of takes a bit of an upside to, you know, like not wanting something. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like jealousy has this toxic undertake to it.
Yeah.
And when you fall into that, that's when it becomes like jealousy versus genuinely wanting something for yourself. Because I don't believe to be jealous is to totally want something for yourself. I think the behavior you exhibit is strongly what you shows, and how you project it is what strongly describes jealousy. So that was a really, really good point.
So I think if I see it and it becomes that toxic, I don't even feel the need to call it out, because if you're able to project that something like that to me, then how do we even fix that? Because it's going to seem like I think I'm better than you in a way for me to even think that you could even be jealous of me. You get what I'm saying?
Or you sit someone down and say, hey, I think you're jealous of me.
How do you do that?
How do you do that?
Difficult, this one.
You know what I mean?
Get off your high horse.
In the nicest way possible.
Who do you think you are?
Exactly.
Me, jealous of you.
And
You
you
know what I
to
mean?
me, and don't just must a bit jalouse. Are you jealous of me? It's because I went to see
Giving
Beyonce,
jelly.
right?
It's giving jelly
It's
right
because I
now.
went to go see Beyonce, right? That's
But that's like normal kind of jealousy, you know? Like when your friend goes overseas and sees Beyonce and you're like, oh my God, I'm so jealous. That's fine. That's fine. But when it's like this person's been single like forever, and you know, the friend's in a long-term relationship, ready to get married. That kind of projection of jealousy.
I actually don't even think it's jealousy, like, right? Like in Tswana, we have this thing of like saying, yo, ko khalla gore, like, au khalla chomi, like, 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 it's like, I don't know the English term. I don't even know, but like, I crave what you have,
yes,
like,
yes.
right? And I think that's more of a positive thing. Like, yo, I see you, like, Sam, you're out here doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
You've committed
Crave.
to your,
That's the
crave
right
the
word.
I want
passion.
that for myself.
I want that for myself.
Yeah.
So
Crave,
not,
it's not jealousy.
jealousy is when someone speaks negatively of what you're doing. So if did you see Sam started a podcast? Who thinks she can do it, right? But I can go and speak to some girl. Oh my gosh, Sam started a podcast.
Yeah.
Like, girl is
The
doing
tone.
her doing. So the tone matters. But I think it's in as much as to validate what you're saying, like it is true. There has to be a sense of like, you know, I think for me, it's just being proud of what your friend is doing, right?
Yeah.
And when you're proud of them, you genuinely say like, she's doing it. And when she's doing it, it shows that I can also do it. It's like when people say God is in the corner, is around the corner, right? It's to say it's
God is
also
in the
coming to me. So
neighborhood.
everything in my, you know, like everything is happening in your life. And when that happens, like, cause I've been in a position in my life where I felt as if I'm going downhill, like nothing is going right, and it was COVID on top of that, right? So everyone was just going through, but there were people who things were going good for, and you sit there and you're like, you know, I'm so happy for you, and when this happens for you, it's coming to me too. That's just what it is. So I think instead of it being jealous, you know, it's like envy. It's your intention. It's what you do with. Like being jealous is just one of those.
Exactly. No, 1000%. I definitely agree with you. Jealousy itself is a motivating drive. You know, if you feel that itch when someone else is doing something, it's maybe because, you know, in some lifetime, you're also capable of just as great things. But as soon as you start now trying to derail their journey, that's when it becomes toxic. So we actually need to remove the negative connotations from jealousy.
And just comparing yourselves to others as well.
Comparison.
Tshegofatso spoke about, you know, you can bring it across in a positive manner, like the example Sam is starting a podcast, or you can bring it about in a negative manner, and then you know where it falls. So I think lastly, what I want to find out is, what are the qualities that you possess that you believe make you a good friend, and what areas do you desire to improve?
Self-introspection time.
I remember like driving in and looking at this. I'm like,
I was in the mirror for this.
What? What do I need to improve? Nothing. Nothing. I am so guys. I literally said, I'm so sorry. I have nothing to improve. I think I am the table. I am the dining.
You are the table.
I am the house.
And the chair.
And
you are the shop that makes the table.
snacks.
You are the snacks.
I am a 10 out of 10. Like, in a friendship, I bring it. Like, I've gone through so much, right, to know that what, like, I bring to the table in terms of friendships. I have nothing to improve. If anything,
I am the prize.
you know, no, sorry, let me be humble. There's always room for improvement, right? Even if you're the best version of yourself, there's always room for improvement. Whatever it may be, I definitely need my friends to always call me out on that. What do I think? What is amazing about me? That's the other question. What do I think is so great? I'm loving, you know, I'm caring, I'm supportive. You know, I value what you bring into my life. And if anything, like, Man, I'm such a good person. Yeah, you know what? Thanks. You know, I really am. And
Self-love, you know? Self-love, yeah.
Right, like my friends have to be proud to say that they call me their friend, right? Yeah. And I'm proud to call my friends my friends, you know, and I just want that, you know, people always say, oh, you must be proud of like your partner. If they go there, they're a reflection of who you are, right? Like there's such a level of that. And I like to believe that I've worked so hard to be the person that I am and the friend that I am to my friends. And I only ask that, you know, we continue to just help each other grow, and where we fail, you know, we pick each other up and we keep on moving. But outside of that, ain't no red flag here.
I love that.
I think for me, my strongest trait in my friendships is I will never let you feel like you don't have a friend in me. I will match your energy. I will make sure, even when you're on your lowest of lows, I will pick you up and we will get moving. That's my strongest trait. I believe, for one, having a friend that's going to pull you out of that little hole you're in or that little slump you're in is so important. And I want to be that for people. I think that's my strongest trait, is it doesn't matter where you are. Come, let's go if you need to go. Come, let's sit if you need to sit. But you're not going to do it alone.
You're a safe space.
I'm a safe space. I always wanted to be a safe space with me, no matter what. Even if you think I'm the danger, let it be a safe space to notify me that I'm the danger, you know? And obviously that doesn't come from a people-pleasing aspect. It just comes from being able to understand that being vulnerable requires a space different from, you know, other places. My biggest red flag, though.
It's okay to say you don't have.
No, I have one, and I'm working on it. People tend to think I'm a bit too nonchalant, eh?
Oh.
I tend to give off that whole idea that I'm non-reactive or I don't care. But just because I'm not screaming at the wall or screaming at you doesn't mean I don't care. It just means I'm just not screaming at the wall, you know?
You're still processing?
Still processing. You don't have to be loud to make your point across. You don't have to be mad to make your point across. You don't have to. I usually fawn over things. You know, fight, flight. I usually fawn over things. So I kind of try my best to understand you before I understand me. So it can come across as me being a bit too nonchalant. And a lot of people have had that issue. Like, why don't you just tell me how you feel? I did tell you how I feel. But I didn't do it
with the face.
Yeah. I did tell you how I feel.
The face.
Like, let this camera know. If I'm talking to you now and there's an issue with you, like, no, I hate that you don't pick your shoes off at the floor. Oh, sorry. I said sorry. So yeah, that's my biggest red flag. I think I come across as nonchalant, and it's not. I'm never nonchalant. I want the space to be safe. I think I just need to work on my delivery of, you know. But yeah, that's my biggest red flag.
With me, I'm a really loyal friend. Like, I'm a very loyal friend. Within my means, within my capacity, I will do whatever for my friends. Whatever you need, if I can provide it, I'll do it. I'll do it for you. I'll be there for you. My heart is so big, you know.
Yes.
Like, again, I consider myself a safe space as well. And a lot of my friends come to me for advice and just for someone to talk to, because they know that I'm not judging them at all. Red flag wise, I think I'm very, or well, I used to be very set in my beliefs, and like I used to be very angry. Like, whenever I would meet someone that had opposing views to me, I'd be like, oh my God, like, you're a terrible person. And now, you know, I'm learning to be better in that regard. But again, the communication, with my mental health issues and all that, I truly get overwhelmed when people message me and I happen to be in the middle of a breakdown. And then I just forget to respond, like, ever. It's too much, but like, it's not a bad thing. I see the messages that people send me. I appreciate them. I just forget to tell them that. So I think I just need to be more, or show more appreciation for my friends, because a lot of them do know that, but
I think I share the same.
It would be better to just let them know, you know, like, I do appreciate you. I see it. Like, even I was probably having a mental breakdown, but I saw your message. I didn't reply, but I saw your message and it made me feel better, you know?
So, I think for me, my biggest green flag, the best trait about being my friend is that, so I'm a first generation South African, like, I'm a daughter of immigrants, and I grew up as an alien in terms of my upbringing, I was the only person who was like me in most of my environment. So I have learned through not having the space to be able to create space for others. So no matter what shape, form, size, sexuality you come in, there's space for me. And there's space for you in my heart, like there's space under my tent. So I think,
love you.
Man, Charlene.
I mean, outside of being fabulous. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah, like that for me at my core, that's something that I want to be able to do. I want people to be able to come to me in whatever form, shape, or size and be able to be vulnerable and say, this is me right now. And not feel like they're going to be judged in any way or criticized or, you know what I mean, sized up in any way. And I think that's something that I go out of my way to do for my friends. And it's something that I take pride in doing. My red flag, though, is very similar to you guys. So is communication. I think we just sometimes forget it's real life. This is real life. You know, and some days you are overwhelmed or you having a hectic week and you can't respond to that text, and Sam understands, and I think we all understand at this point, you know, sometimes it does take a couple working days before you respond, and some people can handle that, some people can't, and that's okay. So yeah, that's my red flag. But for me, holding space for people in whatever form or shape they are and letting them feel like they can flourish around me.
Green flag. I think for me, my biggest green flag would be, I think I'm a really supportive friend. I think whatever you want to do, I believe the sky is the limit. And whatever you want to do, I will be your biggest cheerleader. I will be at the forefront for you. What do you need? What do you need to make this work? I will be there and I will help you.
Woman.
I mean, you're here today, girl.
We love a hype woman.
I will be there no matter what the circumstances. If you call me and you need something, oh my gosh, I will be there for you. But my biggest red flag, similar to you guys, is communication as well. I think we tend, a lot of the time we say we're busy, we don't have time, but sometimes we do.
Yeah.
Even if it's
We definitely have time.
You make time.
We have time. We just don't got the mental capacity for
It's
it.
just the mental illness.
Just the mental capacity.
if we're keeping it 100.
Some of us are mentally ill.
No, it's true. That is true. Like sometimes I feel like, okay, it's a Saturday, I've got time, I can probably do something, but I don't want to do anything. You know, I
want a nap.
I want a nap. I want to sleep in the whole day. And there's a friend that I've been meaning to meet up with, but I just don't want to I don't feel like doing it. But I feel like that's something I need to work on within myself, to say that even if I can just give you a call, just to check up on you, are you doing okay? Even if I can't physically go out, let me do something to show you that, hey, are you having a good day? Are you still good? Just to show that I'm there.
Doing?
That is definitely something I can improve on.
I can definitely relate to what you're saying. Like, I have anxiety around social spaces, and it causes me to kind of isolate and hide.
Yeah, she tried to make all the excuses that she can find to not be here today, and I gave her all the solutions.
It was only one, and I know,
There were two.
and I know, Sam, you did it on purpose, because the last time we were supposed to meet, I told you honestly and truly, my anxiety got the best of me, and I didn't want to, freak out and deal with it. But today I kind of felt it in my heart. I was like, nah, there's no way I'm not going to support Sam. I'm going to get my shit together. You are going out and you're going to look good doing it, damn it. I was in the mirror and Anta having the best time. There's cheese and crackers and strawberries and there's spotlight and cling. I mean, there's 4 mics, 5 cameras, sound.
And all you had to do was be here.
All I had to do was show up. And I'm so grateful I showed up, and I'm fighting. Like, I beat my anxiety like Aphiwe 1, anxiety 0 for the first time ever. Like, I'm not Chelsea.
I'm proud of you.
Like, for the first time ever. I'm not. Like, I won.
Look at
something for your friend and growing in the process.
Yeah, yes.
And I'm so happy I came, and I'm so happy I supported you, and I'm so grateful again that I'm one of the people you called for this. Like, I have always loved your drive and your passion, Sam. Like, I love that you're doing this because I know it comes from your heart. That's kind of one of the reasons why I love you, J. Like you, hey, guess man. Hey, 7 colors, not rocks, yeah, man, not rocks. Chef's kiss. But yeah, like sometimes you might feel like you don't want to do it. You know, you don't have the mental capacity to do it. Because I've been through some stuff in the last few weeks, and you just want to hide and run away. But just taking that leap might actually, showing up. I mean, come on. I'm clinging with the hottest girls in town now.
The hottest girls in Josie. And it's not, it wasn't hard for you alone. It was hard for me too. I mean, I am a working professional. During this past week, it was hectic, knocking off late hours. I didn't even prepare for any of these episodes. I should not be disclosing this. I am winging everything right now.
No, it's fine.
We're here now.
Sam, you're a rock star. You're a rock star.
But like just making the time to do what you love. As you said, and I am so grateful, as I said before, for you guys showing up with the busy schedules that you have, sharing what you have shared and the stories that you have told. And again, what I said in the beginning, I hope that this helps anyone who is viewing or is listening to do that introspection, to say that, hey, this is who I have been in my friendships, and probably I need to work on this, or we need to work on this, or you know what, this is a dead and gone situation. Let us walk away from this. And I truly hope that this is the takeaway from our viewers and our listeners. Thank you.